I'm going to experiment with a recipe today from one of my favorite cookbooks. This is The Fine Art of Italian Cooking by Giuliano Bugialli, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He amuses me sometimes. For example, this recipe calls for 3 chicken breasts from a 3.5-pound chicken. I can't say that without laughing. I didn't know they came with 3. It's one of those genetically re-engineered chickens. I'm going to be using 2 because I have 2 very large chicken breast fillets. And this is chicken breasts with artichoke hearts. And then you make a wine reduction sauce to go with it. I'm going to say this is going to feed 4 to 6 people. 6 very likely, because I'm going to also be adding to the recipe penne pasta. So let's make these chicken breasts with artichoke hearts. These are my artichoke hearts. I have here what I estimate to be the equivalent about 3 whole artichoke hearts. And I'm just going to cut these up a little bit. I'm not going to chop them up real small because I want them to be recognizable as artichoke pieces in my dish. I think that works better. I'm ready to start cubing my chicken breasts here. That's why I switched to my chicken board. The recipe calls for cutting these into 1-inch cubes. I think that's too big, 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters. I'm going to make mine a little bit smaller. I'm not making a really big chunky stew here. So maybe a 1/2 to a 3/4 inch cube is what I'm going to do here. I have a flour duster here, and I'm going to dust my chicken a few pieces at a time until they're all lightly coated with flour. I'm not going to season these just yet. I'm going to wait until they're cooked, and then I'll season them. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. This will take me a few minutes to get all this chicken dusted. Just about finished up here dusting my chicken. The recipe calls for 1 cup of flour, approximately. I don't even have a measurement for that because I'm just figuring enough flour to have the pieces dusted well enough that they no longer stick to each other. To me, that's a good indication that these are all nicely dusted. As you can see, those separate very nicely. That's it. Now I'm ready to start cooking. I'm heating a large skillet on the stove here. I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. This is regular, what I call cooking olive oil. This is pure olive oil. I think of extra virgin olive oil as a flavoring olive oil. And I'm going to put my artichoke hearts in there, turn my heat down a little bit. And I want to just cook these until they just start to brown lightly. These aren't raw, they don't need to be cooked. I just want to brown them for a little bit of flavoring. All right, I'm turning my heat off under these because this is just taken on a little bit of a light brown. And I'm going to transfer these to a bowl and season them lightly with salt and pepper, and then I can work on my chicken. I'm ready to start sauteing my chicken. I'm going to add a little bit more oil to this pan, maybe another tablespoon or 2. And then I'm going to put my chicken pieces in there. And I want to cook this chicken until it's cooked all the way through and just lightly browned. And yes, that's a plane going overhead. I do live near the airport. Okay, so that's going to take probably close to 10 minutes to cook that thoroughly. Okay, so you can see how nicely browned my chicken is. I have a cast iron enameled pan that I'm going to transfer this to, and then I can start making my wine reduction sauce. I need to juice 1 lemon, and I'm going to use the zest as well. As I always say, this comes from my neighbor's tree. There are just some of the lemons I've gathered lately. I'm going to start off by zesting the lemon. The outside yellow part is what you want to use when zesting. I have a microplane grater here. I'm just going to scrape the better looking part of this lemon off. I can't resist using lemon zest when I have fresh lemons like this. I know it's going to taste good in chicken. Okay, that's good enough, I think. Put that in a little bowl. And then I want to cut my lemon in half. I have a little bowl here with a strainer to catch the seeds. And I'll juice the lemon. As always, I probably get almost half as much on the counter. But as long as I end up with enough, that's all that matters. Okay, I'm going to clean up my mess here. And there's my lemon juice. Returning now to my skillet, I'm adding 1 cup, which is 237 milliliters of dry white wine. The original recipe called for 1/2 cup or 118 milliliters, but because I'm going to be saucing penne pasta, I want a little bit more sauce. Then this is the juice from my 1 lemon, and that's a lot of juice. And I'll tell you the problem. Some of the lemons from her tree are huge. Look at this. This is like a grapefruit. That's such a big lemon. And then there's the zest. And I'm adding to this a couple of anchovy fillets. Those are optional. Those will cook and break up in the sauce. I like working with anchovy fillets in something like this because they don't really proclaim their flavor. You don't taste a strong anchovy flavor, but they add some depth to the flavor. And now what I want to do is bring this up to a boil and then simmer it to reduce this by about half. With a skillet this large, that's not going to take very long. I put my chicken pieces and my artichoke heart pieces into a casserole. This is an enameled cast iron pan. This is good for a serving dish. Meanwhile, my water has come up to a boil, so I'm cooking my penne pasta. Not a whole lot, just enough to taste and give a demonstration. I want to put my sauce over this. I finish this sauce with a good tablespoon of butter. Gives it a little bit of a smoother flavor and a nice shine. Give that a stir to coat everything. The sauce has a strong, almost slightly bitter flavor to it, which is good because there isn't a lot of flavor in the chicken and the artichokes. Now, as soon as my pasta is ready, I'll be ready to plate. You could make this in advance, cover it, set it aside, hold it for an hour, or refrigerate it overnight and heat it up the next day. I wouldn't wait too long though because of the flour on the surface of that chicken that could get gummy after a while. My penne pasta now is done. I cooked this according to package directions until it was al dente, about 11 minutes. And then I reheated my chicken here. This looks so good. And I'm not going to put a lot on there. And how I like to dress this, some people like to put cheese on their pasta, but I really think some extra virgin olive oil is a great garnish for a dish like this. All right, the last step is to see how good this tastes. Okay, I'm just dying to see what this is going to taste like. I'm going to taste my chicken first. See, a nice delicate flavor. You can taste the lemon juice, but it doesn't taste of anchovy. There's just a little something there. And then a piece of my artichoke with one of my penne pasta. Yeah. That's a nice, almost a robust flavor with the artichoke. So, excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy my chicken breasts with artichokes. For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit my website, mobilehomegourmet.com, and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.